Did you know that 40% of gardeners fail to account for how big their plants will grow? This simple mistake leads to overcrowding, stunted growth, and even plant death. But it doesn't have to be that way. In today's video, I'm going to show you how planning for growth can transform your garden into a thriving, healthy space. Stay tuned to avoid the number one mistake that's holding your plants back. Hey, gardeners! Welcome back to the channel. Whether you're a green thumb or just getting started, there's always room to grow. Pun intended. Today, we're tackling 5 common gardening mistakes that might be holding you back. But don't worry, I'll show you exactly how to fix them. Overwatering is one of the easiest mistakes to make. While plants need water, too much can drown their roots and cause rot. The fix? Check the soil before watering. If the top inch feels dry, it's time to water. And always use well-draining soil to prevent water from pooling. Overwatering is a sneaky mistake that many gardeners make, and it often leads to unhappy plants. While it seems natural to give your plants water whenever the soil feels dry, too much water can actually harm your plants more than help them. When you water your plants too much, the roots can suffocate because the soil becomes waterlogged and oxygen can't reach them. This leads to root rot, yellowing leaves, and even mold growth in the soil. The key issue here is that plants rely on well-drained soil. If the water doesn't have a chance to escape, it builds up and essentially drowns the roots. First things first, always check your soil before watering. Stick your finger about an inch into the soil. If it feels dry at that depth, it's time to water. If it still feels damp, skip watering for a few days. Water thoroughly, but don't let your plants sit in water. If it's in a pot, make sure there's a drainage hole at the bottom so excess water can escape. Pro tip: if your pot doesn't have drainage holes, consider repotting it into a container that does. Alternatively, you can use a larger decorative pot to hold your plant's container and let the excess water drain out. Choosing the right soil for drainage. Another way to prevent overwatering is by choosing the right soil. Some plants, like succulents, need soil that drains quickly, so look for mixes with ingredients like perlite or sand. On the other hand, plants that love moisture, like ferns, will do better in a mix that retains water but still drains well. Always research your plant's specific needs. Signs you've overwatered, and how to recover. Okay, so you think you've overwatered? Here's what to look out for. Yellowing or wilting leaves, a musty smell from the soil, and mold growth. Signs of overwatering: yellow leaves, mold, soggy soil. If you catch these symptoms early, remove any affected leaves, allow the soil to dry out, and cut back on watering. If the root rot is severe, you might need to repot your plant with fresh soil and trim off any rotting roots. Watering techniques for different plants. Different plants need different watering schedules. Cacti and succulents, for example, prefer to dry out completely between waterings, while tropical plants like ferns thrive with more consistent moisture. Always tailor your watering routine to the specific needs of your plants. Overwatering doesn't just harm the plant, it stresses it, making it more vulnerable to pests and disease. Final tip: watering with a schedule. Staying on top of your watering routine can be challenging. One solution is to set reminders on your phone, or even use an app to track when you last watered your plants. That way, you can avoid overwatering and keep your plants happy and healthy. Not all plants thrive in the same conditions. Placing sun-loving plants in the shade or vice versa can lead to stunted growth and poor blooms. Check your plant's light requirements and plan your garden layout accordingly. It's all about giving them the right home. Not all plants are created equal. Some thrive in the full sun, while others need more shade or a bit of protection from the elements. One of the biggest mistakes you can make in your garden is planting a plant in a spot that doesn't suit its light or environmental needs. For example, plants like tomatoes, peppers, and sunflowers need at least 6 hours of direct sunlight to grow strong and healthy. If you plant them in a shady spot, they may become leggy, with weak stems and poor fruit production. On the flip side, plants that prefer shade, like hostas or ferns, can burn if exposed to too much sun. How to fix planting in the wrong spot. To avoid this mistake, you need to first assess how much sunlight your garden gets each day. Do you get full sun? partial shade, or deep shade. Once you know that, it's easier to choose the right plants for each zone. Here's a quick tip. Observe your garden throughout the day and note where the sun hits the most. A garden that's sunny in the morning might have more shade by the afternoon, and vice versa. This can help you figure out which areas get full sun and which are more shaded. Once you've mapped out your garden, choose plants that are suited to each area. For sunny spots, go for plants like lavender, tomatoes, and zinnias. In shady areas, consider ferns, astilbes, or hostas. Avoiding microclimates. A common issue with planting in the wrong spot comes from microclimates. Small areas within your garden have different conditions than the rest. For example, a plant near a brick wall may get more heat due to the reflected sunlight, while the same plant on the other side of the garden might be in the shade. Microclimates can be tricky. If you're planting near walls, fences, or large trees, be mindful of how these structures affect the amount of sun, wind, and even temperature your plants are getting. Some plants love the warmth reflected off a wall, while others might find it too hot. Planning for seasonal changes. Seasonal changes also play a role. Some plants may do well in the spring but struggle in the summer heat. Others, like cool weather crops, thrive when planted early in the season but need to be shaded as the weather heats up. Planning for the seasons is key. For example, in early spring you can plant lettuce, spinach, and peas in the sunniest spots. But when summer hits, you may need to give them some afternoon shade or move them to a spot with lighter sun exposure. The importance of wind protection. Don't forget about wind. Some plants can't handle strong gusts, especially if they're young or delicate. In windy areas, consider planting taller or bushier plants, like sunflowers or shrubs, that can act as a windbreak for more fragile plants. Strategically placing plants in areas with natural wind protection, like near a fence or next to a row of taller plants, can help protect them from wind damage. How to correct a mistake: transplanting. If you've planted something in the wrong spot, don't worry. It's not too late to fix it. Simply dig up the plant, being sure to keep the root ball intact, and replant it in a more suitable location. Make sure you replant as soon as possible to avoid stress. If you need to move plants during hot weather, try doing it in the evening when temperatures are cooler. Transplanting. Final tip: know your plant's needs. Every plant is unique, and its needs are listed right on the label when you buy it. Always check for light, water, and space requirements before planting. You can also research your plants online or in gardening books to ensure you're giving them the best spot possible. Planting in the right spot is one of the easiest ways to set your garden up for success. By paying attention to light, soil conditions, and seasonal needs, you'll help your plants thrive all year long. If you found these tips helpful, make sure to like and subscribe for more gardening advice. Happy gardening, and see you next time. Your soil is the foundation of a healthy garden. Ignoring its quality can leave your plants hungry for nutrients. Amend your soil with compost or organic matter regularly, and consider testing your soil to see what nutrients it might be missing. Your soil is the lifeblood of your garden. It's where your plants get their nutrients, water, and stability. So when soil health is neglected, plants can struggle, leading to poor growth, diseases, and even plant death. One of the most common mistakes gardeners make is focusing too much on the plants themselves and not enough on the soil they grow in. Soil that's too compacted, too acidic, or too nutrient deficient will make it harder for your plants to thrive. How to fix poor soil health. Don't worry, fixing your soil is easier than you think. Let's talk about a few ways you can improve it to ensure your plants are getting the best foundation possible. 1. Improve soil drainage. One of the biggest soil issues gardeners face is poor drainage. Soil that doesn't drain well can become waterlogged, suffocating roots and causing rot. This is often seen in clay-heavy soils, or to fix this, you can amend your soil with organic matter like compost, perlite, or coarse sand. These will help loosen the soil, improving drainage and allowing your plants to breathe. 2. Test and balance soil pH. Another critical factor in soil health is pH. The pH of your soil affects how well your plants can absorb nutrients. If the pH is too high or too low, Plants may not be able to get the nutrients they need, no matter how much you water or fertilize. Test your soil's pH using a simple soil test kit, which you can find at most garden centers. If the soil is too acidic, below 6.0, or too alkaline, above 7.0, you can adjust it. For more acidic soil, add sulfur or peat moss. For alkaline soil, you can add lime or wood ash. 3. Add organic matter. Organic matter is the secret ingredient to healthy soil. Adding compost or aged manure not only provides nutrients but also improves soil structure, moisture retention, and microbial activity. Healthy soil is full of beneficial organisms, like earthworms, fungi, and bacteria, which help break down organic matter into usable nutrients. Even if you don't have access to a compost pile, you can use store-bought compost or mulch to enrich your soil. Just spread a thin layer over the surface and gently work it into the top few inches of soil. 4. Fixing compacted soil. Another major issue in garden soil is compaction. When soil is too compacted, it restricts the movement of air, water, and nutrients to the roots. This is especially common in heavy clay soils or in areas where the soil has been walked on frequently. To fix compacted soil, you can aerate it using a garden fork, a hand tiller, or even a rented machine. Just be careful not to till too deeply, as this can disturb the roots of existing plants. Aeration improves soil structure and allows better root penetration. 5. Avoiding overfertilization. While it's tempting to give your plants a boost with fertilizers, overfertilization can harm your soil and your plants. Too much fertilizer, especially nitrogen, can burn plant roots, encourage excessive leaf growth, and harm beneficial soil organisms. Instead of heavy fertilizers, try using slow-release organic fertilizers, which provide a steady amount of nutrients over time. And always follow the recommended dosage on the label to avoid overfeeding your plants. 6. Mulching to retain moisture and regulate temperature. Mulching is a fantastic way to help retain moisture in the soil, regulate temperature, and keep weeds in check. It also breaks down over time, adding more organic matter to the soil. Apply a 2 to 3 inch layer of mulch around your plants, but don't pile it up directly against the stems or trunks. Mulch made from wood chips, straw, or shredded leaves is best. 7. Encouraging soil microbes. Healthy soil is teeming with life, earthworms, beneficial bacteria, and fungi all help to break down organic matter and make nutrients available to your plants. To encourage these beneficial microbes, avoid using synthetic pesticides or fungicides that could harm them. You can also add compost tea or organic soil inoculants to help boost microbial activity. Final tip: observe and adjust. Healthy soil is a living, evolving system. It's important to monitor your garden regularly, test your soil every couple of years, and adjust your practices as needed. Whether it's adding order, improving drainage, or balancing your soil's pH, small improvements can make a big difference in your plant's health. So remember, good soil health is the foundation of a flourishing garden. By improving your soil structure, nutrients, and ecosystem, you'll create a more sustainable garden that's healthier for you and the environment. If you enjoyed these soil tips, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment with your favorite soil health tip. Happy gardening, and I'll see you in the next one. Ignoring pests until it's too late. Pests can take over quickly if left unchecked. The key is early intervention. Inspect your plants regularly. If you spot pests, use natural remedies like neem oil or introduce beneficial insects like ladybugs to keep them under control. Pests are one of the most common problems gardeners face, and many gardeners make the mistake of ignoring them until it's too late. By then, the damage is often irreversible, and controlling the pest population becomes much harder. Whether it's aphids sucking the life out of your tomato plants, or caterpillars chewing through your lettuce, pest infestations can spread quickly and devastate your garden. The key is early detection and taking action before the damage becomes severe. How to fix pest problems early. One of the easiest ways to manage pests is to regularly inspect your plants. Make it a habit to check your plants, especially the undersides of leaves, for any signs of pest activity. Look for tiny insects, webs, or eggs. Early intervention is key. 1. Identifying common garden pests. Different pests target different plants. Aphids, for example, love tender new growth and can be found clustered on young leaves. Caterpillars, like those from cabbage moths, will make themselves known by chewing large holes in your leafy vegetables. Other pests you may encounter include slugs, which leave a slimy trail, and spider mites, which cause speckled, yellowing leaves. Knowing what pests you're dealing with is the first step in addressing the problem. 2. Natural pest control methods. If you catch pests early, you can often control them with natural remedies. Neem oil is a great option. It's a natural pesticide that works on a variety of insects without harming beneficial pollinators like bees. You can also use insecticidal soap, which targets soft-bodied pests like aphids or diatomaceous earth, a fine powder that's harmless to humans but deadly to insects with exoskeletons, like slugs and beetles. 3. Encouraging beneficial insects. Another great way to manage pests is by inviting beneficial insects into your garden. Ladybugs, for instance, are natural predators of aphids and can help keep their population under control. Other helpful bugs include lacewings, which feed on aphids and mites, and predatory wasps, which can control caterpillar populations. You can buy these insects online or at garden centers and release them in your garden. 4. Physical barriers and traps. Sometimes the best defense is a physical barrier. Row covers can help protect plants from flying insects like moths or beetles. For slugs, setting up traps using beer in shallow containers can attract and drown them. Row covers also provide protection against larger pests, such as rabbits and birds, while allowing sunlight and rain to reach your plants. 5. Hand-picking pests. For small infestations, hand-picking pests off your plants is a simple and effective solution. While it's time-consuming, it's a non-toxic way to keep pests under control, especially when you're dealing with larger pests like caterpillars or beetles. Just drop the pests into a bucket of soapy water to dispose of them. 6. Preventing pests in the first place. Preventing pests is often easier than treating an infestation. Crop rotation is a great strategy. By changing where you plant specific crops each year, you can break pest cycles and reduce the chances of an infestation. Also, make sure to clear away any plant debris at the end of the season. Many pests overwinter in dead plants, so removing these helps reduce the chance of a springtime infestation. 7. Maintaining a healthy garden ecosystem. A healthy garden ecosystem is less likely to attract pests in the first place. By maintaining good soil health, planting diverse species, and encouraging beneficial insects, you can create an environment where pests are less likely to thrive. Strong, healthy plants are better equipped to resist pests and diseases. The stronger your garden, the less likely pests will have an opportunity to cause damage. Final tip: be vigilant and act quickly. Remember, the earlier you spot a pest problem, the easier it will be to control. Check your plants regularly, and if you see any signs of pests, take action right away. It's much easier to handle a small issue than wait until it's too late. By being proactive and using natural pest control methods, you can protect your garden without relying on harsh chemicals. Take the time to inspect your plants and maintain a healthy ecosystem, and your garden will thank you with vibrant, thriving plants. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment with your favorite pest control tip. Happy gardening, and see you next time. Forgetting to plan for growth. Plants need room to grow. Crowding them can lead to poor air circulation and increased risk of disease. Always check the spacing requirements on plant labels and give them room to thrive. Trust me, your garden will thank you. There you have it. 5 common mistakes and how to fix them. Gardening is a journey, and even the best gardeners make mistakes. The important thing is to learn and keep growing. If you found these tips helpful, give this video a thumbs up and share it with a fellow gardener. Don't forget to subscribe for more gardening tips and tricks. Happy gardening, everyone! When you're excited about planting your garden, it's easy to forget one very important thing: how big your plants are going to get. Not planning for a plant's growth can result in overcrowding, stunted growth, and even plant death. Plants need room to spread their roots and grow properly. If you place them too close together, they won't have enough space to reach their full potential. Overcrowding can lead to poor airflow, which promotes fungal diseases and competition for nutrients and water, weakening the plants. How to fix planning for growth. To avoid this mistake, you need to plan ahead by considering how big each plant will grow, both in terms of height and width. This means checking the plant tag or doing a bit of research before planting. 1. Understand your plant's growth habits. Every plant has different growth habits. Some plants grow tall, like sunflowers or tomatoes, while others spread wide, like cucumbers or squash. Understanding how each plant grows will help you determine how far apart to plant them. For example, tomatoes can grow up to 6 feet tall, but they also spread out with their branches. If you plant them too close to each other or to smaller plants, they won't get enough sunlight, and their growth will be stunted. 2. Consider vertical versus horizontal growth. Another great strategy is vertical gardening. Some plants, like cucumbers or peas, can grow upwards with the help of a trellis or support. This allows you to save space and give them the room they need to grow while keeping the garden more organized. By growing vertically, you free up space for other plants to grow horizontally or even underplant smaller crops like lettuce or herbs, creating a more efficient and productive garden. 3. Plan for companion planting. Companion planting is another helpful strategy. Certain plants grow well together, helping each other thrive. For example, basil helps deter pests that affect tomatoes, and planting marigolds nearby can protect your crops from nematodes. By planning your garden layout with companion plants, you can make the most out of your space, reduce pest problems, and support healthier growth for all your plants. 4. Stagger planting for continuous harvest. Another important planting tip is to stagger your planting throughout the season. This means planting crops in intervals so that you have a continuous harvest. For instance, you can plant early season crops like lettuce or spinach, then follow them up with warm season crops like peppers or tomatoes as the season progresses. On-screen text, staggered planting, ensures a continuous harvest. By staggering your planting, you can optimize space and enjoy a steady supply of fresh produce. This technique works especially well in small gardens or raised beds. 5. Consider planting depth. Planting too deep or too shallow can hinder plant growth. Some plants need a shallow planting depth to thrive, while others need to be buried deeper to establish strong roots. Be sure to follow planting depth recommendations for each type of plant, whether it's a seed or a transplant. This ensures that your plants will have the best chance of establishing roots and growing healthy. 6. Give space for root development. Another crucial aspect of planning for growth is making sure your plants have enough space for their roots to develop. If plants are in pots that are too small or in overcrowded garden beds, their roots can become tangled or root-bound, limiting their ability to absorb water and nutrients. When transplanting, gently loosen the roots to encourage them to spread out. In garden beds, space plants far enough apart to give their roots room to grow and absorb nutrients. 7. Be mindful of planting seasons. Don't forget to plan for the seasons. Some plants thrive in cooler weather, while others need warmth to grow. If you plant cool weather crops, like lettuce, too late in the season, they'll bolt and go to seed before you get a good harvest. Check your local growing zone and planting calendar to ensure you're planting each crop at the right time for your climate. This way, your plants have the best chance to thrive and grow to their full potential. Final tip: plan for growth, but be flexible. While planning for growth is essential, don't be afraid to adjust your layout as the season progresses. Plants can sometimes grow faster or slower than expected, and flexibility is key to keeping everything thriving. By planning for your plants' growth from the start, you'll ensure they have enough room to grow strong and healthy. Proper spacing, understanding growth habits, and adjusting your garden layout as needed will set you up for success all season long. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment about how you plan your garden for growth. Thanks.